I'm Laura.
And I'm Shanae. And we are
The Story Seekers. How have you been, Shanae?
I have been good. I've been busy, but I've been good. How about you? You've been very busy.
The same, yeah. It's nice to finally, I feel like we've not done this. Well, I've been away, but everyone's been busy, and it's just been a crazy few weeks.
we've struggled to find the time, haven't we? But we're here now.
Yeah, definitely.
So today we are talking about number 13. This is our 13th episode. Yay! So we came up with the idea of making episode 13 about the number 13 because I think it's one of the most popular or well-known myths that the number 13 is bad luck. And come to research it, we found out with some cultures it's good luck. So it's very much a perspective thing.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear your historical side of it because I only briefly looked into the history and it's so widespread.
Extremely broad.
When I was younger, I always thought it was lucky. And then as I got older and
I
started getting into the horror genre, watching horror movies, that's when I started to pick up on that it was unlucky.
I always knew it as unlucky.
Really?
It was together with breaking a mirror and walking underneath a ladder, all of those kind of typical superstitions. To me, number 13 was that.
Yeah, definitely more so now, I think. Like, as I've got older and invested in like horror movies and like the supernatural, I now see it. I'm not like fearful of it, but I definitely see it as more of an unlucky thing. I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
The first one kind of ties into what we were just saying. So, are you a superstitious person or were you a superstitious person in the past?
No, I don't think I'm not someone that throws salt over my shoulder or anything.
I'm very similar.
I think I'm also nitpicky about superstitions. Like I might have some, but not many.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm not like worried about something as such. Like if you think about superstition, you it's almost like a worry, like something bad will happen to you if you don't do something or don't see something.
Step on a crack.
Yeah. But I think I do have some superstitions, but they're out of bad habit and like the way I've been brought up. Like silly things like my mum always said, like, don't put new shoes on the table, it's bad luck, or you can't pass on the stairs. Things like that. And I'm still
I only learned that one recently. That is a very British one.
Yeah.
That you can't pass each other on the stairs.
Yeah, that's supposed to be
I
bad
never
luck.
heard that one before.
Yeah. But I'm not fearful of like something bad happening to me. I just kind of do it out of habit because my mum's very superstitious.
I think I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think the superstition just works its way into your habits.
My second question was about Friday the 13th. Would you be fearful to travel on this day?
No, it was Friday the 13th like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was teaching a lesson and I wrote it on the board and I wrote Friday the 13th and I looked at the kids and they had no reaction. And then I got really excited.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, do you guys know? Do you know about Friday and we went through a whole spiel about it, obviously, because I also did research about it. I didn't give them all the details, but I did tell them we went into like what is superstition.
That's cool.
Vietnamese have many superstitions.
A lot of superstitions, yeah.
So I might have just added one for those kids.
Traumatized now.
How about you?
I think, I'm the same. It always sneaks up on me when we were flying back, when we were booking
flights
the
are cheaper.
Yeah, Proudy was like, oh, it's Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Is that okay? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. And like, it's one of those things, the more you think about it, I'm like, oh, is
heard,
it fine?
I've heard that flights are cheaper on that day.
I've heard the same, yeah.
What kind of, I don't know if you have this question, but what kind of superstitions would you say you grew up with?
Lots of household superstitions, like I said, crossing on stairs and throwing the salt over the shoulder and stuff like that.
When do you throw salt over your shoulder?
If you spill salt.
I know that part, but I've heard people do it for other reasons too.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
If you know, let us know in the comments.
Get into it, yeah.
Let us know all of your superstitions. We want to know all of them.
And then like it kind of goes into tradition as well.
I think so, cultures.
Yeah. Like on New Year's Eve, there's always, if I ever spend New Year's at home, there's always like a big tradition, a lucky tradition. Like my dad has to go into the house first. We have to let the new year in, or it's going to bring bad luck and things like that. But that's very rare.
You have to, is that when you get married, you have to open the back door?
Yeah,
what was
lots
that?
of things around like special occasions and marriage.
Yes. We have one which I always find so funny. And if it does happen, even Peter and I go, oh no. If you drop a teaspoon, someone's gonna have a baby.
Oh, okay.
If you drop a fork, a woman's gonna come and visit you. Not like a ghost, like an actual person.
A lady of the night.
No. Just like you're gonna have a female guest.
Okay.
And if you drop a knife, it's gonna be a male.
Okay.
And I think to cancel it out, you have to step on it.
Ah, okay.
So if you drop a teaspoon, you have to step on it.
Yeah, if you don't want a female visitor, or you don't want
the
someone...
teaspoon's the baby.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't want to have the baby. Step on it.
Yeah. Yeah. We have another one. You probably have it back home as well. We have, if we see magpies, like certain combinations of magpies, like 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for something.
That's a very witchy chant. I've heard that in the witch community a lot. Yes. Let's look at the magpie rhyme. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told,
Ooh.
8 for a wish, 9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss.
It'd be pretty scary if you saw 9 magpies at once. I think I'd be a bit...
but aren't they like assholes? Aren't they?
They're a little bit boisterous. I know, if you see 1 for sorrow, people salute them to give themselves good luck against. If you see like a combination that you don't want to see, like 1 for sorrow, if you salute it, it's supposed to like cancel out the bad luck.
Very British.
Yeah, very British. So British.
I salute you, sir.
Don't give me any bad luck, please.
Do they also like shiny things, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Very similar, maybe in certain ways, to crows. Mm-hmm. I really love crows.
I like crows a lot. They're supposed to be really crazy clever as well.
They're very intelligent. Are you ready for a tarot?
Yes.
Okay. So, what shall we do? Shall we do one for the podcast?
Yeah, let's do one for the podcast to see how it goes in the next few weeks, few months.
Yes, we'll see, because Laura's leaving me temporarily. Sounds fast, but she's gone for months. All right, Laura, come over and pick a card. Any card. Which card shall it be? What is that?
The Page of Wands.
The Page of Wands.
On the picture, it's got kind of like a dancer. It looks really tribal. She's holding what look like 2 weapons. She looks very strong and agile. Hopefully that's a good thing.
So, it was upright, right?
Yeah.
It was upright, yeah. The Page of Wands in a tarot reading is a card of enthusiasm.
Oh.
Inspiration and new beginnings.
Nice.
Okay. It signifies a burst of energy, creativity, and a willingness to embrace new opportunities. This is really
I like that.
nice.
After I got my new journal from you, I feel like, yeah, I'm ready.
I always, when we do our podcast, yes, we're delving into history and we do the creative writing. Mm-hmm. But honestly, when I think of our podcast, I think of creativity.
I do as well, yeah.
It encourages you to trust in your instincts, explore your passions, and take action towards your goals.
Okay.
It's a
Very
really nice
fitting.
one, yes. Shall we get into
for
the story?
sure.
Please tell us the story of number 13.
Okay. The 13 days of Sylvia Hartwell, recovered from her room at the Manchester Institute for Cognitive Restoration. Day 1. There were 13 crows on a wire outside my apartment window. I watched them for 13 full minutes before they flew away in perfect unison. Nobody else saw. The neighbours just walked beneath them. I could hear their wings inside of my teeth. Later, I opened the cupboard and all the food had expired on the 13th of different months. Every single item. I checked 3 times. No one believes me. Day 2. My alarm went off at exactly 7:13. I checked the settings, set for 7 o'clock, but it always rings at 7:13 now. I heard whispering on the radio, and I turned the dial slowly. Each station repeated the same thing. 13 is not a number, it's a door. The lights in my hallway flickered as I walked beneath them. I counted the floors. I live on the 12th, but I never noticed there's a locked floor between 12 and 14. No button for it in the lift, but I heard something walking up there, pacing around. Day 3. There was a man in grey. I saw him through the keyhole. He knocked just once, and when I opened the door, he stood still. His suit was the colour of fog. He said, "You've been selected." I tried to speak, but he raised his hand. His fingernails were perfectly manicured, 13 rings on each finger, gold and shining. "You're the last, the 13th, that was it." He turned, walked away, 13 steps. I swear to God, I counted them. Day 4. I saw the number 13 in my coffee foam again. The swirls weren't just random, I checked. It looked like it had been put there. Then I blinked, and it was gone. I took a quick shower to calm down, but when I stepped out, I hadn't even turned the water on. The floor was dry, but the mirror was fogged, and there it was again in the steam. Day 5. My cat won't come near me. She stares at the corners of the room and hisses. Last night I found her pressed into the wardrobe, eyes wide, not moving. Her fur was wet, not water, something else, something thicker. She stared at the wall and yowled 13 times. When I picked her up, her heartbeat was racing like she'd seen something she couldn't figure out. I looked at the corner. There were 13 scratches, thin and long, etched into the paint. 13 vertical claw marks. I called my friends. They just laughed. Day 6. I walked to the park, just to breathe. I felt like something was following me. Not a person, a presence, a shadow. When I passed under a street lamp, I saw it for a moment. There were 2 of me. Then I tripped over a crack in the pavement. The crack had 13 perfect veins across the cement. I looked down and something inside the crack looked back at me. It had no eyes. It just watched. Day 7. The dream was so vivid I woke up screaming. I climbed a staircase, 13 steps. Each one whispered something from my past. My grandmother's voice, my own screams, the hymn they sang at my friend's funeral. At the top of me, but not me, pale, hollow. A person's mouth opened. "They will never believe you," she whispered. I couldn't wake up. I was trapped inside that dream for 13 hours. And yes, my phone confirmed it the next day. Day 8. The clocks are all dead. Every single one. Even my phone, even the microwave. All frozen at 1:13. I wound them back, replaced the batteries, reset everything. It doesn't matter. The time still holds still, like the world is pausing. Day 9. I woke up to pain, extreme pain. My back was burning. I looked in the mirror, with a hand mirror, and saw 13 parallel scratches, running from neck to tailbone. Asleep alone, my door was locked. The cat's gone now. No one will talk to me anymore. I tried to call my brother. The line crackled, and a voice answered. It wasn't his. It said, 13 days is all it takes. Ooh, sorry, the thunder outside.
I was just about
scaring
to
myself.
To note, it was sunny
And now it's
before
gone
we started
dark.
telling,
Ooh.
before Laura started telling the story. Now, to quote my mother, the sky is black.
Pathetic fallacy right there. Day 10. I went to the store. I needed to be around people. But all of their faces were just wrong. Too smooth, Some mouths moved, but I heard no sound. The cashier looked at me and her face began to twitch. She handed me the receipt. It had no purchases, just a number, 13. I dropped all of the groceries and ran home. Day 11. All numbers spiral into 13 now. Every total, every count, it all bends into it like a magnet. I tried to escape it. I threw away everything with numbers. Neighbours watched me, looking at me like I was insane. My watch, my phone, even the wall calendar. But the shadows still know the date. I saw one carve a number into my bathroom tile. It wasn't ink or blood, it was something I didn't recognise, and I can't unsee it. Day 12. 13 knocks, precise, slow, like a ritual. The doorknob rattled gently. I didn't answer. I held my breath and counted each knock. I really, really hoped there would be a 14th knock, but there wasn't. I walked to the door. Something inside me wanted to open it, but I didn't. I fell asleep clutching a knife. When I woke, I was on the other side of the door. The walls pulsed like they were alive. I didn't know where I'd been. I think I went somewhere, but nobody could tell me. Day 13. They strapped me to the gurney. I remember the hallway spinning as they wheeled me out of the apartment. One of the paramedics whispered something. I turned my head and read his lips. 13th confirmed. They think I didn't hear them. At the hospital, they put me in a white room. No sharp corners, no windows, but of course, I counted the 13 ceiling tiles above me. I counted the dots on the nurse's uniform, 13. I counted how many seconds it takes between blinks of the surveillance camera, 13. I think I feel calm now, but sometimes I can see it clearer than ever. They let me have this pencil. They think it's safe. I broke the eraser off and sharpened it with my teeth. I've scratched 13 into every corner of this cell. I do it while I laugh. I know the staff keep notes. I've read them. This patient exhibits compulsive behaviour, obsessive numerology, paranoia. I'm not paranoid. I'm prepared. Staff report, room 13, wing B. Sylvia Hartwell. Diagnosis, acute numerological psychosis with persistent delusions. Patient repeats the number 13 constantly and has carved it into skin, bedding, walls. She believes that she is the key to some kind of dimensional event. Security level increased after attempted breach of basement doors. Staff found her standing motionless, eyes rolled back, mumbling, "I am the gate. I am 13. The end. I wanted to find out what if there was like an obsession with numbers. That's what came up. I can't say it. I'm just going to say psychosis.
There's a few words I have to say in the history that I'm gonna not be able to say.
Yeah.
Listen. With the weather
changing, a bit spooky, that.
I feel like we've pissed off Mother Nature.
Oh,
listen to that. That's terrifying.
That's very scary.
Okay. So here is the history of number 13.
Tell us the history, Nay.
I had to really dive deep into this one because it appears in so many cultures around the world that it's very interesting. But let's dive into it. Number 12 represents structure and wholeness. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night, 12 months to shape a year, 12 signs to guide the stars. A number that completes a circle that feels finished. But then comes 13. Uninvited, unsettling, offbeat. It tips the scale, breaks the pattern. Where 12 was symmetry, 13 is imbalance. It is the stranger at the table, the shadow in the corner, feared on calendars, skipped in elevators, not because of what it is, but because of what it is not. It's not 12. It's not perfect. just one too many.
Messing up everything, number 13.
Everything. So I have a little bit of a story here that gives you a bit of a backstory for number 13. His eyes opened slowly and then closed again. All he could see was darkness. He became aware of the wet dirt under his hands. The ground felt hard against his face. He could smell the humid air with the foul stench of sulfur choking him. He started to push himself up with his hands, feeling weak. Had he ever felt weak in his life? How could a god feel weak? Then he heard the screams and the shouting somewhere in the distance. The sun is gone. The spring is gone. Joy is gone. For Balder the Beautiful is dead. Balder woke up covered in sweat. He'd been having nightmares about his death, and this one was the most vivid yet. Next to him, Nanna, his beautiful, kind wife, was sitting up comforting him. He told her about the dream, and as soon as she had soothed Balder back to sleep, Nanna went to Queen Frigga, her mother-in-law, weeping at her feet and pleading that she help her son. Frigga loved all her children, but Balder held a special place in her heart. He was the god of light, joy, purity, and beauty after all. Frigga decided to cross the heavens and earth and make sure that every being promised not to harm her beloved Balder. She started with the gods and moved to the earth, the air, the water, in all the corners and crevices of the world. All swore happily that they would never harm Balder, god of light and joy. To celebrate, the gods all decided to have fun with Balder's newfound immunity. They held an archery tournament, and Balder was to be the target. The arrows, rocks, and blades would just shatter against Balder or simply fall to the ground before him, earning a roar of laughter from Balder as well as from all the other gods. All but one.
Oh no.
Loki, god of mischief, was walking among them, not laughing, but sourly observing, disgusted by the love and attention Balder was receiving. Then he started to grin. Loki shifted into an old, harmless-looking woman and approached Frigga, asking her if it was true that everything and everyone had sworn not to harm her son. Yes, proclaimed Frigga proudly. Well, except for a harmless plant that grows nearby in the nearby woods. Mistletoe was harmless enough that Frigga didn't deem it a threat. In the shade, off to the side, Balder's brother was sitting alone. He had been born blind, so he couldn't partake in the festivities and was feeling a little left out. He too wanted to show his support for his beloved brother. Suddenly, an old woman spoke to Hod. Here, dear, use this to honor your brother. He felt her hand him a thin arrow. Hod said that he couldn't see, but the woman said that she would help guide his hand. So, happy to participate, Hod stood and felt hands guide his aim before he threw the arrow. Then all went quiet. Hod only heard a thump, and then the cries of the gods. The arrow had gone into Balder's chest and through his heart. The god of light was dead, and the old woman was gone. Oh no. They suspected her of being a witch, but some noticed Loki too was no longer amongst them. The gods decided to hold a dinner in Balder's honor. They chose not to invite Loki in fear that he would bring chaos with his presence. The 12 gods sat around the table, telling stories and drinking ale with watery eyes, all of them still in mourning. Then an uninvited, unwanted 13th guest walked into the hall. Loki. Loki evoked the old tradition and demanded a place be set for him at their table. Odin gave in and had a place set for Loki. The gods continued. There's an insane storm going on as I'm talking about Odin.
Oh.
Odin gave in and had a place set for Loki. The gods continued their stories about Balder. Loki couldn't take it anymore. He was so angry that they still only spoke about Balder that he began to berate the gods, telling them how weak they were and calling out their imperfections. The gods were getting angrier and angrier, but the ancient law stated that gods gathered together were not permitted to harm one another. You are all so useless and dumb. You didn't even realize that it was me who gave Hod the arrow made out of mistletoe. The room went silent. Even Loki was surprised what he had revealed. Thor slowly stood up. Loki has done his last evil deed, he proclaimed, staring Loki down. Loki tried to hide from the gods like a fish slipping into the depths, but Odin, with his all-seeing eye, knew where to find him. They dragged him to a cave and bound him with unbreakable chains. Above his brow, a serpent was hung, its venom dripping onto his face, drop by drop. He screamed, but could not move. And so he remained for all eternity, until Ragnarok, until the end of days, when the serpent stirs and the chains break and the world burns. Ooh. This is believed to be one of the first mythologies that associate the number 13 with bad luck. The fear of number 13 is known as dun 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 𝐬𝐻𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐻𝐸𝐀. Hopefully it hits somewhere. Maybe I say it right one at a time. And I won't be saying that word again. I'll just say the fear of 13. In Christianity, at the Last Supper, Jesus had 12 disciples, which made Jesus number 13. However, allegedly on the day of the supper, Judas, one of the disciples who had later betrayed Jesus, arrived late to the dinner, making him the 13th guest to arrive. And the next day, Jesus was arrested. It is also said that Jesus was crucified on a Friday.
Okay.
This led to Friday having its own association with bad luck. Friday was named after the goddess Frigga or Freya, also known as the day of Frigg or Freya's day. Over time, this became Friday. Remember, Frigga was Balder's mother. Men were often hanged on Fridays. There were 13 steps leading up to the gallows. Friday became known as Hangman's Day. Side note, apparently because people would celebrate the hanging by drinking heavily the night before, some say that where the word hangover comes from is because it was after the hanging, hangover, allegedly. Friday and the number 13th were originally two different superstitions, but they seem to dance around each other so much so, just had a dip in power, that Friday the 13th eventually became its own superstition, also known as 𝐬𝐭𝐨𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒆𝒓. The Knights Templar were famous across Europe. Christian warriors, feared and respected. It is said that on Friday, October 13th, 1307, in the early morning hours, King Philip IV of France ordered a massive roundup. Many of the Templar Order's members were arrested, tortured into giving false confessions, and then burned at the stake. So those are a few different historical things that happened with either Friday or the 13th having something to do with it. So here's the thing. When I researched about these topics, I had a look at both sides, of course. And in this case, it was really interesting to see that while 13 is considered unlucky for some reasons, on the flip side, it's also considered lucky, often for the exact same reasons.
Okay.
Just seen from a different angle, different perspective. So according to numerology, 13 symbolizes change and transformation. In Norse mythology, Odin had 12 sons, and when you include Odin himself, that makes 13, a powerful divine gathering. And it's not just mythology. 13 shows up across different belief systems and calendars too. The number 13 is linked to the element of air, representing intelligence, creativity, and vision. In the Bible, there are 12 disciples, and with Jesus, that makes 13. In tarot, the 13th card is death, but it doesn't always mean a literal end. It often symbolizes closure, letting go, and the rebirth or transformation that comes after.
Okay.
It's about new beginnings, not just endings. In Japanese culture, 13 is considered lucky and associated with longevity, partly because the word sounds similar to the Japanese word for live. There are 13 loaves of bread in a baker's dozen, 12 standard loaves, and an extra one for good luck. There are 13 moon phases in a year, and women typically have 13 menstrual cycles annually. Ancient cultures like the Babylonians and Mayans followed a lunisolar calendar, which sometimes includes a 13th month to stay in sync with the moon's phases. In Ethiopia, they still follow a 13-month calendar, with a final month having 5 or 6 days, depending on the year. And in 1902, Moses 𝐵𝒊𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒆𝒓 proposed the International Fixed Calendar, a system with 13 months of 28 days each, making every date fall on the same weekday as every year. So every Monday will always be on a specific date, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. But then at the end of the year, they'll have some extra days. Despite its logical structure, the calendar was never officially adopted due to cultural hurdles and resistance to change. So a lot of religions were comfortable with their religious days falling on certain times. But maybe that's the real story of 13. It challenges structure. It resists conformity. It pushes against what we've decided is safe or finished. So maybe 13 isn't lucky or unlucky. Maybe it's just what we make of it. Across cultures, mythologies, belief systems, and time itself, 13 keeps showing up, uninvited sometimes, but never insignificant.
Very much like Loki, though. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Like, that story is really interesting, that how it ties into his character. I think if I'd known that, I would have always associated it with bad luck, or like, yeah, like you said, just something a little bit more advanced than 12, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense if you say it, especially if you look into numerology. The Chinese opinion of number 13 is based on your perspective. So 13, there's something with it with feng shui, where some people say that 13 bad feng shui.
Okay.
But
Really
then others say that it's good feng shui. So it really depends on like where you're from in China, like which belief system you follow. And
that's cool.
Very
Depends on the
interesting.
person. Yeah.
Way more in depth than I thought it would be initially.
Actually, ironically, quite balanced in between lucky in and lucky.
I think so, yeah. Ironically.
That's really cool. Oh my goodness.
Let's hope we end up posting this one and not
Yeah.
dying after recording this episode, because I don't know, Odin's not really happy
someone's
we've
not
been
happy
talking
with
about
us.
Loki.
But yeah, really interesting there.
I'll light some incest to
Yes.
incest.
I like some incest.
No incest here. I'll light some incense to apologize to the gods who are listening.
And that wraps up episode 13. Still here, still standing, and only mildly haunted.
We didn't break a mirror, walk under a ladder, or summon anything intentionally, but the thunder might disagree.
If your lights flicker tonight, it's probably just a coincidence. Probably.
That's so creepy because our lights did flicker.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we might be haunted. I think we've done it.
We've cracked it.
It took us 13 episodes. We're haunted. Thanks for listening to the Story Seekers.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and knock on wood. Goodbye.
Goodbye.